Good morning, boys and girls. So today what we're going to do for writing is we're going to brainstorm or generate ideas for our new writing prompt. So as you can see, here's our writing prompt. And our writing prompt is an informative writing. Well, that's not our writing prompt, but today we're going to work on informative writing. And you know that informative writing is not really a story. It really gives people information about a specific topic. So today our topic is really going to be about how do people make cardboard? You know, cardboard for pizza boxes, cardboard for boxes where you can put things in and store things. So how do we make that product? It's called cardboard. So again, our informative writing is going to be a piece of writing that really gives people information about a specific topic. And our topic or our prompt for writing today is going to be this question here. How do we make cardboard? Okay. Now that's a hard one, but we can learn how to make cardboard from our reading this week in Clever. So if you remember our story, it's called From Pine Tree to Pizza Box. And there was a few paragraphs in the story that really tell us how we can make cardboard. So in order to prepare for this writing, the first thing you need to do is make sure that you read the story yesterday in Clever. It's actually not a story, it's an informational article. So make sure you read that informational article called From Pine Tree to Pizza Box. Then what you're going to need today is to open up to Clever and have that story open on your computer or your device, whatever you have at home. Okay. You need a piece of paper, so this is going to be my piece of paper. And you need a pencil so that you can underline some of the ideas in your book and then write them down on your piece of paper, because all we're going to do today is we're going to brainstorm ideas and put them down, just like we always do every week. Okay? So what I did, I'm going to move the camera a little bit, is down here on the bottom of my paper, see it down there in red? I wrote the title of where we got our information from. That's called a source. When we're going to write an informational piece, boys and girls, we need to find a place where we can gather information. And that is called a source. So From Pine Tree to Pizza Box is the title of the article that we read yesterday. Well, that is our source. So the source is where we find the information that's going to tell us how to make a cardboard box or how to make cardboard. Okay, so let me go back over here and let me show you. So there's our informative writing piece over here. This is our prompt. We're going to write about how we make cardboard. And to help you, I want to refer you to the story From Pine Tree, or the informational piece From Pine Tree to Pizza Box. And you want to make sure that you read paragraphs 3 through 5, because that is the source of our information so that we can gather ideas to write about how we actually make cardboard. So just like you yesterday, boys and girls, I read this article. Okay? And when I read paragraphs 3 through 5, what I did was I underlined sentences that I thought were really good ideas. Those are the sentences that are the sources of information, the sentences that really tell me how to make cardboard. Okay, so the first thing that I underlined was this. See here where it says, how do we make cardboard? Okay, so I read all of paragraph 3. And you can see I highlighted some ideas. Then I read all of paragraph 4 and all of paragraph 5. Now, paragraph 6 was kind of like an ending paragraph. It really didn't give me ideas or information about how to make cardboard. They just started talking about pizza boxes. And that's not what we want, because our prompt is, how do we make cardboard? So that's what I was looking for. All the words, all the sentences that will give me ideas about how to make cardboard. So the first thing that I learned was that cardboard comes from trees. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to write that they have to cut trees down. So they have to cut down trees. Cut down trees. And I'm going to draw a circle around that and connect it, because that's how we make cardboard. The next thing I learned was then after they cut down trees, they have to chop them up and make logs, you know, big long logs. So they have to make logs. So I'm just going to write logs. Okay, we need logs. First you cut down the tree, then you have these big old logs. Then I read that they have to take all the bark off the outside of the log, so they have to remove the bark. Remove bark. Okay, let me connect that there. Then I also read that once they remove all the bark, they can make wood out of them, like long, flat pieces of wood. They can make boards. They can make like pieces of wood, and then sometimes when they cut wood, it makes little chips, and the little chips fall on the floor. Now that's a lot of information, so I think I just want to put down the one that is the most important, okay? So I know they cut down trees, then they turn those trees into logs, and then once they have the logs, they take off the bark, okay? Then what I read was that the logs, they turn them into like boards and wood, okay? So I'm gonna write down, they turn into wood. I'll just write wood. And I'm going to write wood chips. And I'll circle that and I'll connect it right there. Let me connect everything with a little arrow. Okay, now, boys and girls, remember, we're just getting ideas down. So everything that we write, we might not use everything. We just want to use what we think is the best way to explain how we make cardboard. So the next thing that I underlined was that then the wood chips, they use those wood chips to make cardboard, okay? So this is the big thing. They use wood chips to make cardboard. So then what they do is they take the wood chips and they turn it into like a soft, soggy pulp. They wet it. They wet the wood chips and they make something called pulp. So we're gonna say they turn, I'll use this part right here. Turn chips into pulp. That's what they do. They probably mix it with water. They probably mix the wood chips with water, and they get all soggy and mushy, and it turns into pulp, kind of like masa. Is what they do. Okay. Then what they do is they press it. It says right here, it gets pressed into thin rolls of soggy paper. So it looks like they press the pulp or the masa into paper. So then they press pulp into paper. That's what they do. Okay. Now, then I underlined here in paragraph 5 where it says, 3 layers of paper at a time are then fed into a machine. The machine folds the paper. It glues the paper together. The pine tree is now cardboard. So that's kind of what they do. So I think the next thing I want to write is after they press the pulp into paper, they need 3 layers of paper. Okay, so do you need, let me draw a little arrow. I'll go here. You need 3 layers of paper. Okay. Then they press all the paper together and they glue it together. So I'm gonna write, then they press, P-R-E, they press and glue paper together. Alrighty. And I think that's how you make cardboard, because right here it says, the pine tree is now cardboard. So I don't think I'm gonna write that sentence. Maybe I'll add it later when I turn all my ideas into sentences. So today, we just generated ideas. So let me remind you what we did again. I'm gonna recap or review what we did. So today, we were going to work on informative writing. And remember, informative writing is not a story. It gives people information about a specific topic. And our topic or our prompt for today was, how do we make cardboard? Now, a lot of us don't know how to do that. Even grown-ups don't know. Now, everybody will say, oh, they make it from trees, but they don't really know how. So what we need is a source. And our source was our book, Buyers and Sellers. And we turned to From Pine Tree to Pizza Box. So we had to read there. So on our paper, we want to make sure that we write down our source. And remember, our source is down here. So we wrote the title of our selection, From Pine Tree to Pizza Box. And we know a pizza box is made out of, guess what? Yes, cardboard. It's made out of cardboard. Okay, now, we want to make sure that we read the correct section. So I wrote down, just to help you, make sure you read paragraphs 3 through 5, because that is those paragraphs are the source of our information. A source is where we can find the ideas that we need to help us figure out how to make cardboard. Okay? So once we found our source, then what we did was we read, because we were supposed to read yesterday for homework, so I hope you all read for homework yesterday like you were supposed to. Okay? And today you're going to read again. You need to read that part again, but you only want to read paragraph 3 through 5. Then you're going to take your pencil and you're going to draw a circle in the middle, and you're going to say, okay, we need to figure out how to make cardboard, so I'm just going to write cardboard. Then I'm going to look for all my ideas that I read, and I'm going to begin in paragraph 3. So the first thing that I wrote down was that first you need to cut down some trees. Then once you cut down the trees, you have to turn them into logs. Okay? So they have to cut off all the leaves and everything, and all you have is a big, long tree stem, and that's a log. When you cut all that stuff off, that's called a log. So I wrote that down. Then you have to remove all the bark, which is all the outside skin of the tree. Then once they remove the bark, they can take the logs to a factory and they turn it into wood and all kinds of other wood products. But sometimes they make wood chips, all the little pieces of wood that fall on the floor. Well, they take those wood chips and they turn them into pulp. That was my next idea. And we read how they get it wet and they make it soggy, so it's like masa. Then they take this pulp and they press them together into sheets of paper. Okay? Then after they do that, they need to do that 3 more times. You need 3 layers of paper to make cardboard. Okay? And we read that they get the 3 layers and they fold them and they glue them and they press them together. So it says they press and glue paper together. Okay. And that's pretty much how cardboard is made. Now, once they go through all these steps, then you've got your cardboard, and you can fold it and cut it, and you can even paint it so they look like pizza boxes or boxes for putting things in, or even boxes like our mailbox in school where we all have our mailboxes. It's blue, it's made out of cardboard. So that's how they made it. So this is what you need to do today, boys and girls, when you go home. You need to generate ideas or write down ideas after reading our source. So remember, our source was called From Pine Tree to Pizza Box. You want to read paragraphs 3, paragraphs 4 and 5, and find all the little details that help show how to make cardboard. Okay? Now yours might be just like mine, but I hope you try to find different ideas too. So you can use what I used, or you can I think you should do the work yourself and practice at home just like I did. Alrighty? So that's what you're gonna do today. Today for homework, I want you to make a web, a little organizer, and write down all the ideas that you found that show us how to make cardboard. Alrighty, so this is not a story. You're giving us information. Alrighty, maybe for science next week, you could try making cardboard. That would be fun. Or maybe we could make paper. I think making paper is easier. All right, have a good day and good luck with your writing today.